was difficult for me. And I did it immediately after the call. And she said to me, do you know what? It's like coach's favorite thing when people actually do what they're told to do, because so many people hear good advice and then just let it brush off. So well done, Angela.
No, well, it works, to be honest. But again, it was the way that she had suggested we phrase it that was
Oh,
allowed me to enter their domain and rather than saying, here's a list of courses. I only did two. I didn't do them all. I just thought, do the two that are coming up quickest so that you don't overload them. And no, I'm a good student. I listen.
you're a good student. What a lovely thing. And it's also really awesome that you came back to share it with us, right? Because sometimes there's nobody to share the win and cheer you. So that's
I
great.
know, I know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have to say that I actually, and this probably goes against everything that you're hearing, I'm not actually charging for these courses, but I give the donation back to the church that's hosting it as a platform. So they get the money.
Wow.
And the reason is, is because my husband doesn't want to upset the tax situation too much because I'm on a pension. So I'm not having to use it as most of you guys are. I've done the career route, but I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Actually, the lady that's coming on next, will it be to ask a couple of generic questions about um
Gospel, are you with
yeah,
us? Do you want to unmute?
Yes,
you
indeed. I'm
there?
here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello,
Turn your
Gospel.
camera on. Go ahead. Dive in.
All right,
Angela.
okay. Is that all right to ask a
Yeah, yeah,
question?
go for
Because I
it.
think
Of course.
I'm totally
Yes, indeed.
aware.
Mhm.
Hello, Gospel. I'm totally aware that in fact you can get you can earn so much interest without it being taxed. So for those of us that got interest accounts, that's £1,000 or something like that. But I've heard about this trading allowance too. This, if you're not earning a lot of money, and that's under £1,000, is that on top of the interest that you're allowed from accounts? Is that a different fund that you can access that the government won't tax?
Are you trading with the stocks and shares or
No, just
where are you?
just ISA, not ISAs, but just interest on savings accounts. Oh no, no stocks and shares, just savings accounts.
Okay. So this is not financial advice or anything like that. Okay. So you're saying that, are you talking about your income above the 12,570 or
Well,
it,
I've only got a government pen, the old people's pension, so it would be. So I've just got the government pension. No, that's why my husband doesn't want to complicate it with me earning too much at the moment. But I heard about this trading allowance, which allows people to earn up to £1,000 gross, which for when you're starting out, that they're not really bothered about. But is that on top of the free interest that you're allowed to earn before it's taxed on savings accounts?
you know what, Angela? I'm not too sure about that, so I'll have to find out and let you
Okay.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I wasn't, I thought this might be of interest to people who are beginning to start out as tutors when they're
Mm,
not making enough, to earn a lot of money, but knowing at what stage we have to involve the tax man, which we don't really want to do if it's, I'm
yeah.
very fortunate it's only part time for me. I've been there and done the 30-year career, guys. I've done that as self-employed podiatrist. I've been there and done it so as a limited company. So that was a completely different ball game. But this is my second career. So I was just wondering at what stage I have to involve a tax man. But thank you.
Yeah, I'll find out because I don't specialize with people that are out of work. So I'm not too sure about that. Like people that are retired. I don't specialize in that. But I'll find out and let you know.
Bless you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me just dive in there. We also have another member who's a financial advisor, Tracy, and you can find her in the QT community, Angela. She has a hub called Small Business Accounts, and she's a little bit of a tax guru. She says, I'm not an accountant, I'm a bookkeeper. She's eminently sensible. So you may want to reach out to her, and she might have an answer also. It's so nice to have a a community of practice that has practitioners from different experiences and backgrounds. So I think that's really, really helpful. Angela, I'm glad that you told us that your career was as a podiatrist, because because I was eager to find out what the 30-year career was. Helen, are you putting your hands up there because you need to? Is it about feet? Is it about feet?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer. I can answer. I'm very, very experienced about feet. I can answer about feet.
Nicola, you've arrived in a break. We're misbehaving. Hello, Dolly. Go ahead, Helen.
My experience, my understanding, and again, I am not a financial person. I'm not a tax person.
Your hubby is.
My understanding is that the trading allowance is separate from interest, and basically what it does is it shifts how much you earn before you start paying tax, effectively. As with a lot of the things, it's not that you don't pay tax on that bit, or the resultant effect is that your tax barrier shifts from being the 1,200, whatever it is. So you get a little bit more wiggle room before you start to be charged tax on anything.
So that's a separate fund from what the government allows you against your tax-free interest, which is really what I thought.
So because interest is savings, and that's one thing. Trading allowance is for you as a person that is trading, for expenses and things like that. You can, as my understanding, you can specify all your expenses, and if your expenses happen to be over that grand, then you would want to do it as expenses. But if you are just starting out and your expenses aren't there, you can just take it as a flat rate and just do it.
Without having to involve them. Just keep a record.
Keep a record. I would always say sign up and declare it.
Okay.
Because it's not worth getting caught. But if you're not due to pay tax, it won't pay tax. It's one of those things. If you have declared it on self-assessment, obviously you've got records through HMRC then for what you have done each year, which can be to prove.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
And stuff, but if you need to prove income, then it needs to be that route. Sorry. Okay. Yep.
Well done, Helen. That was extremely brave of you to give financial advice live on LinkedIn. Official caveat.
I am not a financial advisor.
I know.
Experience and understanding.
But what you are is a jack of all trades, and that's a pretty awesome thing to be right now. I would love to just remind you that that was a conversation and not financial advice. But thank you, Angela, for bringing up a really juicy and befuddling question. What I would love to what I will do now is welcome Gospel to our virtual stage. I will remind you that this is a Love Tutoring Autumn Festival event, because Qualified Tutor is all about ensuring that tutors are safe, skilled and supported. And if you want to find out more about how to do that, you can meet with me on this link here, although the slots are filling up fast. So please do grab a slot if you would like to talk with me. I would be delighted to take the time to speak with you. The reason why Gospel and I have planned this event for you today is because we know that money mindset is a real challenge for tutors. Many of us have come from the teaching world, and we do not know how to value our time. We also struggle to plan as a small business owner because we're used to being employed and getting a salary. And so everything is different in this space, and there is so much that we don't know, which we definitely saw from Helen Dickman's session earlier. I thought I knew about an email, but she showed us so much clever about how to use emails to get and keep good business. And that was really, really helpful. Angela, you went ahead and actioned the guidance that Helen had given you in that last session, and you had a win immediately. That's what we do here. We listen to each other, we learn from each other, we take action, and then we come back and celebrate together. So I will invite you in this session to really lean in, ask your questions, don't be shy. Gospel will tell you, oh, actually, Gospel, you don't know this. Everybody's met you already. Because I introduced you in the last session because I find you really inspiring. So, my dolly, I will pin you to the top of the stage and I will hand over to you here. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julia. It's really a privilege to be here sharing with you what I'm going to share with you right now, which is empowering financial success, you know, breaking free from limiting beliefs. The truth is, most tutors, like Julia said, most tutors, educators, teachers, they have limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs are keeping them stuck, overwhelmed, frustrated. And you know what? You are so valuable to all the people that you support that you need to separate yourself from these limiting beliefs. And many times, these limiting beliefs is not your fault, because we all grew up with some form of beliefs. Either we absorbed it from our parents, from our surrounding, when we go to the workplace, when we were at school, and we've really absorbed them and grown up with them, and it's not serving you. It's actually hindering your life success and your financial success. And today I'll be sharing with you, how you can break free from that. And I'll be using a framework that I came up with and I share with some of my clients that are struggling with limiting beliefs. Actually, to be quite frank, all of them are struggling with limiting beliefs. So we'll go through these, and there are 5 of them, and I call them the Let Go Circle. Now, I've got a workbook. You can scan that QR code, and you'll be able to get that workbook, and it will help you. There are questions on there that you can answer, and also you can make notes using that workbook. If you can, well, you'll have to print them out. But anyhow.
Sorry, can I ask a technical question? I have used the QR code on my phone, so I now have your workbook on my phone. Does anyone know, is there a way for me to scan the QR code on my computer whilst I'm in this Zoom room? Is that doable? So I should be taking notes on my phone? Okay.
Yeah. I can put the link.
Yeah, please. That would be super. Yeah, let's do that as well. Because it's so nice to have a takeaway from this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, do check your inboxes, everybody. I sent the workbook to you all last night.
Hannah Liversidge.
Oh, I think I updated it, Hannah.
Oh, could you? Last minute, that's fine. If you send me the link, Gospel, I'll send it to everybody after the session as well.
I saw a mistake, and you know me, I just had to just hold
Perfect.
on.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bear with me, I'll just grab it quickly.
Helen has shared it in the chat for us, so you can continue.
Gospel, don't worry.
Okay,
Helen's on the
then.
case. I'm sorry I interrupted your flow.
Oh, right. I have to stop and start again. Okay, sorry. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Helen, for doing that. Okay, so when it comes to breaking free from your money beliefs, I mentioned that I have this framework, the Let Go Circle, and I'll be sharing this with you. And by the end of this, you'll be able to do all of this stuff. It's really what I'm sharing. You will be able to reframe your language, understand the emotions behind it, transform your speech, the words that come out of your mouth relating to those negative beliefs, set actionable goals, as well as be able to track them, observe those scripts that keep coming up all the time, and find a way to eliminate them. This is quite a powerful method, because once you start to understand what your language is doing to you and the emotions that it brings up in you, you start to be able to capture it, shall I say, and you start to form more positive thought patterns. So we'll go through this, getting to a place where you can now let go of limiting beliefs and thrive financially and in your personal life. So your language, can you put in the comment section, in the chat section, I mean, what limiting beliefs do you say to yourself, or have you heard other people say? Some limiting beliefs that I have come across, and even in the past that I have said sometimes, has been, I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough to teach this subject. Oh my goodness, these students, these struggling students, they cannot learn. They are, or if you own an agency, you might say, I can't find qualified tutors. Or you could even be saying things like, oh, I need this fancy equipment, fancy facilities to be able to compete in the marketplace. These limiting beliefs are keeping you stuck. And you know what? Most of these limiting beliefs, they reinforce false assumptions. False assumptions about the marketplace, about a viable business model, and about sometimes even what drives the value that a student has. The language that most of this, the emotions that most of this language evokes in us could be frustration, anger, overwhelm, even sometimes pride. I'll be sharing with you some case studies of two people that we went through this model with, and this will help you to be able to do that for yourself. You know, feeling annoyance at the student for perhaps not getting it on time, not understanding what you've said to them for the 5,000th time, they still don't get it. Feeling jealousy about the other tutor that maybe has X amount of students or seems to be doing so well on social media, or maybe you feeling intimidation. Perhaps maybe you are just new into the tutoring industry and you seem to be thinking that everybody else is doing it better, and that intimidates you. And you know what? This can even paralyze you, that you end up not taking action or doing anything, because you might feel, what is the point? Everybody is doing it. It's a saturated market. That's another limiting belief that's quite common. You know, these emotions tend to indicate fear. They tend to indicate a threat to your competency, to the negative. You start to have like negative social comparison. You have discomfort about taking risk because of the potential of failure. Maybe you even have an emotion where you perhaps just got an email from your bookkeeper or your accountant saying your business is not a viable business because you're at a loss, not in a profit. And that can evoke frustration in anyone. You know, I hear a lot from tutors that say, I just love teaching children. I'm not doing it for the money. I am not doing it for the money. I want to impact the next generation. I don't even care if they don't pay me. But you know what? In society that we live in, there was a reason why in most nations, especially in the Western world, let's talk about the UK. There's a reason why there is a minimum wage or a minimum living wage. There's a reason, because they know that many people will work for free. Many people will be exploited. Most tutors They don't know this, but they might be exploiting themselves. Let me know in the comment section, what is the minimum living wage? Now, clap for yourself if you know what it is going to be in 2024, because yesterday, if you listened to the announcement, it was going to go up. The national living wage is about £10 and 42 pence. And to be going up next year. Now, have you done an audit of your financial situation? Have you done an audit to see how much exactly you're paying yourself? Because guess what? Just as in the workplace, if your employer is paying you less than this, that's illegal. So now you, as a self-employed tutor, I'm guessing, if you're paying yourself less than that, you need to report yourself because you're paying yourself less than the living wage. And that's not right. And many people are living that type of lifestyle. Poverty, a lot of entrepreneurs are living below the poverty line. And they've not taken time to actually evaluate their financial life. You deserve to be paid for your time and your knowledge. Many people think that they are quite emotionally aware. They understand their emotions. They understand the emotions of others. But you know what? Studies have shown that we don't really know ourselves that well. And if we don't know ourselves, there's no way you know other people. Taking this emotional intelligence test, I do this as part of the package that I offer. You get to really be able to recognize and understand your emotions and be able to empathize with other people. This is an assessment that you take, and you get a better understanding of where you are and see how you can improve on your emotions. Now, after you've looked at your language, what you're saying, the negative beliefs that you have and you say, and the emotions that subconsciously that evokes in you, you now need to start transforming that. And there are various ways that you can start doing that. A simple way could be start reframing your words, start reframing what you say. And reframing means just changing what you say. Instead of saying something like, I can't, I mean, why can't you? You change that. We'll look at that. We'll look into that some more. You know, you can reframe those negative beliefs that you're saying. You can look at a positive outcome in your mind and then anchor that and say, this is a positive in my life. I stand by this. Or you can use metaphors or even look at your past successes. Those are ways that you can start to transform your negative manuscript and then set goals. Not some other goals. You set smarty goals. I know you're used to SMART goals, but I decided to put smarty goals because I find that some people, their goals are not really their goals. It might be what society says should be their goal. It should be specific, measurable, actionable, achievable. It should be realistic, should have a time frame, and it should be your goal, not some Joe Blogg's goal, not your mother's goal, not some tutor's goal, or the parent goal. You have to do what suits you and what is best for you. Once you've done that, then you have to now start tracking your manuscripts, your limiting beliefs. Start tracking, are you how are you doing? Have you changed over time? Some people, they track theirs weekly, monthly, some people daily. Now, let me talk to you about Alex. Alex is a cautious tutor. Alex, an independent tutor, studied maths, and he's just been in it for about 5 years. But he struggled with financial stability. He had these money scripts, limiting beliefs. He was saying things, I'm just a tutor. My expertise is not valuable. If I raise my rate to drive my clients away, I can't charge more because I'm not experienced as others. Can you relate to some of those money scripts? And there is Sam, the overwhelmed entrepreneur. And Sam runs a tutoring business. And they are quite very knowledgeable person. But then we're living below the poverty line. Some of the beliefs that they had was, no one can do this as well as I can. I can't afford to take breaks or vacation or holidays. Marketing and branding, they aren't as important as teaching itself. So I'm not, why will I do that? What are your limiting beliefs? Write that in your notebook, or if you want, you can put them in the chat section. Now let's work out how to start dealing with these beliefs. So for Alex, we'll use this, we're going to use these case studies as examples so that you can get to see how to do it for yourself. Now, with Alex, what we did was we knew that, okay, you're a graduate. Yes, you have student loan, that's all right. You're a graduate, this is where we're starting from. Now, are you getting the minimum living wage at least? We had to explore that. And then we explored how they wanted students to talk about them and parents to talk about them. Alex's language was, I'm just a tutor. My expertise is invaluable. So we took each of their manuscripts, we took them and then we said to work on them. I can't charge more because I'm not experienced as others. The emotions behind that was he had self-doubt, feeling unworthiness, and intimidation. What we did with Alex was we looked at reframing the language. So the language of going back, the language of I'm just a tutor. Oh, and also I can't charge more because I'm not experienced. So we looked at that. The self-doubt was feeling unsure about their skills. They're not sure about what they are delivering to people. They had this fear that if they charge a lot, then if they charge a lot compared to other people, it will really cause it to undermine his credibility, because they'll be like, why will I pay you that much? Why? Kind of thing. Those were behind that fear was in their mind. And also they had this thought of trying to, the intimidation, trying to compare themselves with other tutors. And this imposter syndrome crept up. Now with imposter syndrome, and all the other bits that he was talking about, we helped him reframe his language and the emotion. Alex lacked self-awareness. And when he took the emotional intelligence test, that was highlighted. And they wanted to work on that part. They also struggled with managing stress. They struggled with that and couldn't put themselves in the student's shoes. So after much coaching, the transformation that he came up with was, I have some experience tutoring already. I will keep learning and improving so I can feel good about charging rates that my time and skill deserve. My success comes from working hard, not comparing myself with others. This kills imposter syndrome. When you choose to start upskilling yourself, you find that the imposter syndrome tends to shrink and reduce. So we went to the goals part. He came up with 3 goals. I will write down 3 things that are good after each tutoring session. I will learn about setting fair rates, talking to people. So we did it together, pricing, coming up with a pricing plan. And I will set timeline to raise my price step by step. Everything I do is step by step. You start with turtle steps, and then you move on to baby steps, and then giant steps. Not going straight up to giant steps, because that's where you now start to feel, oh my goodness, this will be undermining my credibility. You start little by little, and you work your way up. Then they chose to be reviewing their money script, their limiting beliefs weekly. You can do this daily if you want to, or monthly. It's all up to you. Now with Alex's transformation, was able to recognize the value that brought, change his perspective about setting pricing, and started to focus on giving quality work, knowing that his work was good, and that this comparison thing wasn't working out. So that was Alex's transformation. Now let's look at Sam, the overwhelmed entrepreneur. We looked at their delegating situation because it was non-existent. Look to see if they're paying themselves at least the minimum wage, because remember, it's illegal to pay yourself less. And I did pose a question. I said, how much will you lose if you could not work? If you completely burnt out and spent 2 weeks in hospital, how much would that cost you? What impact would that have on your life? Going through a language, no one can do this as well as I can. I can't afford to take breaks. We looked at this, and then we looked at the emotion behind it. High emotion was scarcity mindset, and also pride actually was also played a part. And there was a fear of failure that if she let somebody do it, it will just go kaput and they will not do it well. And that's her, brand gone, her reputation gone. There was that failure. And I suppose lack of trusting the people that worked for her. There was also some form of anxiety behind that. There were quite a few emotions there. So we explored that, and for Sam, she came up with a metaphor to help her to transform her manuscript, her limiting beliefs. And her metaphor was a battery. And what she thought of was, okay, I need recharging once in a while because I don't want to completely run out. That made sense for her. We also worked on reframing some of her words and looking at past successes, timeline in the past, what has happened, what has gone well for her. And she came up with this transformation that she wants to work on. Taking small breaks will help me be more productive and happy. I will start planning short vacations and rest that fits my budget. So we looked at implementing that in her budget and how that will, work for her. I remember it's all step by step. 3 goals she came up with. She'll talk to other tutors, talk to money coach. So that's what we did. Came up with a pricing plan that will help her achieve her taking breaks and also growing her tutoring agency. She'll schedule 1 long weekend off for the next month and also make a list of fun, free, cost-effective activities to do. One interesting thing about Sam was I shared this, but do you know that in a year, there are some months that have 5 weeks? And she chose to say, okay, on the months that have 5 weeks, I will take a holiday. It could either be a weekend break or a whole week off. I do this a lot, so I like it. So for 2024, there are 4 months that have 5 weeks.
Look who searched me.
And I know this because I planned
AQA.
Yeah, of course. There's people that work for AQA.
And I
Julia
know
didn't mute herself. Sorry, Gospel, please carry on.
in 2024, there are 4 months that have 5 weeks. And I know this because I've planned my 2024. There are March, May, August, and November. So taking breaks, either weekend breaks or week break, whatever, how she chooses, that was one of the things that she put in place. Now, observing that, so she chose to track if she has those holidays or not. Because remember, if there are 4 months with 5 weeks, minimum 4 breaks to have, not no breaks at all because you think you're a superwoman. No. So that was one thing that she implemented and now tracking it. She chose to track this bi-weekly and also quarterly, just to say, because to work out that at least in 1 quarter, there is a break. Now, that is the let go framework. Sam's transformation involved trusting the team that she had, delegating tasks. We worked on how to delegate task, and basically we put it into money. What is the task that you're doing that is 11 pounds an hour task. Are you supposed to be doing that? Or can you outsource that to somebody to do it? Okay, let's say now you don't have the budget for that. Well, planning that in your life so that you're not burnt out, spending time doing too much of those menial tasks instead of you honing in on your expertise and getting clients. We looked at all of that. Recognizing the importance of recharging, because most entrepreneurs that don't recharge, they burn out and they go broke. A savvy entrepreneur knows the importance of taking breaks because you're the machine. Well, you're the brains as well. Understanding that effective marketing amplifies their reach and impact. This is crucial because this story about, oh, I don't need to market, I just need to focus on teaching. Well, if you don't market or promote yourself, how are you going to get the students to tutor? Doesn't make sense, does it? So we looked at that. Now, in your notebook, write down how you're going to transform your limiting beliefs. I do the can't challenge, and the can't challenge is where you challenge yourself not to say can't, or if you catch yourself saying can't, there are consequences of that, and you figure it out yourself. External perspective, we look at success timelines. And now, once you've come up with that, come up with a plan, an action plan that you're going to take to help you, because it's not easy getting rid of 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, even 70 years worth of limiting beliefs. It's not easy. It has to take intentionality to be able to crush it. And you know what? It's crushable. You can crush it. So putting a plan in place. In your workbook, like I mentioned, there are questions that you can go through to answer. You answer those questions to help you, because it's time to start becoming a little bit more self-aware. What triggers you to make limiting belief talk, your money script? What is it that is causing that? You start to look at how you can, modify that, transform it. Take a good look at your emotion when that happens, because your emotion seeps out. You might not know that, but it does. And, people talk about the energy, your energy level or whatever, the energy in the room type of thing. Yeah, that's really what they're talking about. And your student can feel that energy. Other tutors can feel that energy if you're an agency owner. So getting note of that, knowing that help. Now we've finished. That's the let go circle. You just go through that, your language, the emotion, transform that, seek out goals, come up with goals that are your goals, and start observing, start tracking your beliefs. You want to move from having limiting beliefs to having a belief of abundance, not scarcity, growth, not being fixed. So that's that. Thank you so much for listening to me. I will, if you've got any questions, just let me have it, and I'll try and answer your questions. If I don't know, I will check it and let you know. I have a course that is QT accredited, and we're starting in January. And we go through a lot of the things that I have talked about here. So yeah, it's open for you. I'm Gospel Edwardphilia, and it's been a pleasure sharing with you how to break free from limiting beliefs so you're empowered for financial success. Thank you.
Fantastic, Gospel. It's so beautiful to listen to you, and I love the way you really broke things down into step by step. I also love the way you shared the workbook with us for us to go through it ourselves, but you used Alex as an example because, of course, it's deep work and it's a lot to do after lunch on a Thursday. So the way that you helped us through the ideas was very, very helpful and well balanced and well pitched. Thank you so much. There's been some lovely ideas in the chat. Risha particularly said that an afternoon nap is the favorite way for her to self-care. And mine is similar. I do love to go off and take some time for myself. And we've also mentioned Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of his habits there is to sharpen your saw. He uses the metaphor of cutting down a tree. And if you don't take the time to sharpen your saw, you're not helping yourself. You are hindering yourself. So the way you said it was bang on. Smart people know when to rest. Odette and I take the weekend off and I come back ready and raring. I actually tend to clock on at about 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning because that's all it takes, but you do need to rest. So thank you for reminding us to take care of our whole selves and to recognize our limiting beliefs and to understand how those affect our behaviors over, how many did you say, 10, 20, 50, 70 years? I like that very much. So it's always a joy to hear you and also to hear that, how similar we all are and our limiting beliefs and how they're each holding us back. Imagine a world where we are not living under our limiting beliefs, and imagine a world where we can each enable our students to be free of limiting beliefs. That would be a 70 years that I would love to participate in. So at this point, we're going to take a pause. And we're going to regroup for one final session for the Love Tutoring Autumn Festival. Louise, you've popped off the screen, but I think you just won the last coffee of the day. So if you come back and give us a big smile and show us that you've had your coffee, I really feel that the coffee bingo was a helpful way to bring some extra joy to the Love Tutoring Festival. Oh, yeah, did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah, I just got it. Yeah, thank you. Here we go. There we go.
Yay, good for you. What did you order?
I ordered an decaf Americano with milk.
Fantastic. That's a very grown-up order for the afternoon, isn't it? Well done.
So sorry I had to disappear and get it. That's where I went.
I figured. It gave me some, it was very fun to watch. So Gospel mentioned that we have accredited her course, Qualified Tutor Accredit and CPD Accredit, other people's courses, tutors written for tutors by tutors, because we're all blooming awesome in this community and we have so much to teach each other. That piece that you mentioned, Gospel, about imposter syndrome and how the best cure for imposter syndrome is continuous professional development, reflective practice, and really enabling yourself to take responsibility for your professional development. That's what we do here. So your course is beautiful and highly recommended. If you want to find out more about it, you can do so on the Qualified Tutor website. If you want to speak to me about how Qualified Tutor can support you, please book in the chat. Take your break now and we will reconvene to hear about exam anxiety from an absolute pro at 3 p.m. Brett from Tutors and Exams hosts exams in private tuition centres. So the Tutors and Exams business provides external examinations to children who are home educated, to second chances, and to retakers. So that is all the people in the 7,000 plus people taking exams qualifications all over the country. The about 40% of their work focuses on special educational needs, and they provide a great deal of support and access and adjustments for children, for learners with specific needs. So it will be really, really interesting to hear from him about supporting students with exam anxiety. You may ask me why I'm not talking with you about exam anxiety in November, and that's because we need to always stay ahead of our students' needs. So talking about exam anxiety now rather than the exam period is exactly the right thing for you guys to prepare your students going forward. Go and take a break, and we will see you shortly. I will be around for chats.